elephant, the ant stepped on the elephant's toe. The elephant cried with tears in his eyes. Why don't
We're on Masechta Shabbos, Ayin Ches, 78. Good morning, Harold.
Morning.
So, my Havi Allah, Toshma, the Tanya Reb Shimon Lazar Oimer, Shemen, Kidei Losuch Ever Cotton Shal Cotton Ben Yomo. The amount of Shemen that you're going to be chayiv for carrying is the amount required to anoint a small limb of a baby 1 day old. And that's the halach. Then we said, Mayim Kidei Loshuv Beres a kilor. The water is enough to put in that eye compress. Amar Abaye Michne. I don't understand. Kol milsa d'shchicha v'lo. So you have liquids or anything that has a general use, a common usage, and then you have an unusual usage. Chachamim ozl rabbanim basar d'shchicha l'kuba. The Chachamim would choose the common use, even though, let's say, a person would use it for an unusual usage, a much smaller shear. The Chachamim created a shear based on the common usage, even if it gave you a leniency, where you could carry more of it. However, shchicha u'shchicha, if the usage was 50-50, then they would use the l'chumra one. And the Gemara gives us example. Wine, it's commonly drunk and uncommonly used for medicine. The shear that we were given in the Mishnah was a quarter of a revius that you mixed with 3/4 water, but the real shear is a quarter of a revius, which is a greater shear than the amount of wine that you would put into the kilor, which is just a little bit. So you see, even though you're allowed to carry more, so l'chora it's a leniency, because the chachamim go after the common usage of the fluid. Chalav, milk, achilas or shchicha, refuas or lo shchicha. Milk is common to eat it as a food, not as a medicine. Again, chalav is kedei revius, and not kedei whatever it was used for medicine, which is a smaller shear. However, dvash, honey, the usage is the same. It's 50% used for eating, 50% used for medicine. So therefore, so they use the shear l'chumra, which is a smaller amount for the wound. So freak the Gemara elamayim. Let's see. Shishiyaso shchicha. We drink water more common than we use it for refuah. Refuah solo shchicha. Yet the shear given in the Mishnah was the small amount, not a revius, but the small amount to fill the eye patch. My time azra banim basar refuah solo chumra. On Rabbiya beglilasha. That's only in Galil. Only in a certain area in Eretz Yisrael. And there its use for medicine was the same as the use for drinking. But Rava Amar can explain afilu tema b'sharmakol. It's Kedishmuah. Amar Shmuel kol shkaini masu metalali lebar mimai the masu v'lo metalali. All things that you put on the eye, they heal, but it makes things more blurry to see, except for water, which heals and makes it not blurry to see. So therefore, it's better than anything. Therefore, that's where we go according to the sheer mayim for the eye patch. Then the Mishnah said, Sharkol amashkin revius. All other liquids, the shear is revius. Tanrabanan, dam, chomine mashkin revius. Blood and all other mashkin revius, which is like our Mishnah. Rav Shimon Lazar oimer dam is a smaller shear. They lichol ba'ayin atas to like put makeup on one eye. She came koichlin livrokis. They used to put blood in the eye for like a certain, some kind of yabelet, some kind of, Rashi says a yabelet, as like a growth from the eye. A wild chicken, blood from a wild chicken. So that kind of blood, the shear would be the shear lichol by nachas. Reb Shimon Gamliel medam k'nei lichol by nachas, shekin korchlin liyarud. Yarud is a tavalul, is a different, like a cataract. Umay niyu, dama de krustina, the blood of a bat. Rashi says atalef, shekorin talfo, which is a bat.
Is that Wuhan?
It says a mole. It says a mole.
A mole. Okay, but I have the atalef might be a bat too.
No, they say a bat, yeah.
Yeah.
The bat, the translation is a bat.
Yeah.
Corona.
The simonech gava gava, right? Bats live on the inside. The cataract is on the inside. So the way to remember which is which is the animal. Hang on 1 second. Hello? For a disease on the inside. The abelet, which is a growth on the eye, is from a wild chicken, which is on the outside. Okay.
And you could make a shear with svika on this bat on the inside. It's for the thing that's in the inside of the body, you know.
Yeah. In a chanami. Oh, Rashi says the bat or this Kushtina lives where people are inhabited. I'm not sure that's correct. Maybe that's why there's a shot that maybe it's not a bat. So it says things that are within Matsui is for things that are within the eye. The wild chicken which lives outside is for outside. So
Ernie, yeah. Bats. If you Eretz Israel, where my brother lives in Ranana, the bats are there every night.
Oh, so there you go.
Tons of them.
And were they in the trees?
No, they hit the tarpaulins. They hit the side of the houses. They enter the house.
I see. So you see. So it's correct. So the bats live among people. I always thought bats are like in caves. They're like out of.
Eretz Israel happens to have bats. I don't know. We don't have them over here running around. I guess they're out of Los Angeles. I don't know.
Right. So then we said Bamedvar Mamorim B'motzi. This shear that we're talking about, everything that we went through, what are the very shiurim? It's to give the chiyuv to the person who's carrying it. Avu b'matzniya kol shu chayav. But somebody who has a specific desire to hide something for himself because he has a particular usage for it. So there, the shear is even any amount in terms of how much. I mean, if he would hide even a kosher, who the shear for carrying would be even a kosher. That's only, and it would only be chayiv, not for another person carrying it, only for the person himself who covets such an agent. Ava b'motzi, but let's say somebody else comes around, he would not be chayiv ela b'revius. He would need a bigger shear. Morim chacham Rab Shimon, b'motzi shovchin l'shus rabim sheshiurim b'revius. Everybody would agree that and when it comes to wastewater, even someone who didn't hide it away is only chayiv b'revius. Because less than that, nobody would use it for. We'll see what they used it for in a minute. So the Gemara analyzes. We said the shear that we've been dealing with is for people who carry it out no matter who. But the one who has specific for a certain usage, he would be over even if it was a kosher. I understand. But he's also going to end up being a motzi. So the Gemara doesn't understand the language of that brayso. Amar Abai Yochel Ma'askinan, the Talmid she'amar lo Rabo. So a Rebbe told his Talmid, Lechu panim li'amokim l'su'uda. Go into the dining hall. I'm going to come in from the shiur. Save me a place for the suda. Halachu pinalo. So the Talmid went in and got a place ready for his Rebbe. Davar chashuv lakol chayv ilavei. So if it's chashuv to his Rebbe, now if it's chashuv for everybody, he would be chayiv for carrying it. Davar she'ena chashuv lakol. So iatzno Rabbi, if his Rebbe was makpid on it, then mechayev olay. The ilo lo mechayev, he would need the bigger shear. So we don't go. Person's not chayev if somebody else treasures something in a smaller amount. Omar Mar. Everybody agrees that for wastewater, the shear is revius. Now, what did they do with wastewater? They used it to soften the clay when they made clay. But the whole shear of carrying clay is enough clay to close up the opening of a smelter, right? So, something that would like a kiln, something that would heat up this stuff, and there was a little opening to it, so it's a small amount. So lo kasha had the mikvah, had the loy mikvah. So it depends. If the clay is already a davar chashuv because it's been mixed, we've used water already to mix it, then the shear is a much smaller shear kedei pikur. But if it's not been mixed yet, the shear is the larger shear. If you shein adam turek legabel tit lasos pikur, person's not going to spend a lot of time mixing clay. Just you're going to mix clay a large amount, then you'll use a little part for the closing up that mouth of the kiln. Mishnah. Motzi chevel, person carries out rope. It's kedei lasos ozen lakupa. It's a small shear that you're gonna tie to a box to carry with. Gemi, which is, I guess it's thinner than rope. It's smoother. They would use this to make a sieve, right? It's very, very thin, and I guess they would use that to sieve things. It's for like enough to take for a little child. Oh, they would measure their foot. Rashi says they would use that as a measuring tool to measure how big their shoe is. Now, niyar, paper, is kedei lichtav alav kesher mochsin. The size paper that the tax collector would give him to show, like a receipt that he paid the taxes, and that therefore they're paid. And normally they would write 2 letters on it in Greek, which are bigger than Hebrew letters. V'amotzi kesher mochsin chai. You should know that if you carry, that's the paper, and if you carried a receipt, a tax receipt, you'd be chayiv. Now, niyar machuk, if they had a piece of paper that they erased, and again, because of the technology of their paper, you couldn't write on it anymore. So you needed a bigger shear, because it's something to do with writing. They would wrap a small thing of perfume, a small bottle of perfume with this paper. Or leather. How much leather do you have to carry to be chayiv? To make an amulet. Duchsustis. Duchsustis is like parchment. It's kedei lichtov mezuzah. The amount that it takes you to write a mezuzah. Klaf. Well, duchsustis, we don't use duchsustif. We use a different type, which has to be treated. We'll see the difference between duchsustif and klaf. One comes from the inner part of the hide, one comes from the outer part of the hide. And we'll see, you can use duchsustis to write a mezuzah. You can't use duchsustis to write a sefer Torah. Klaf, which is our parchment, kedei lichtov alav parsha ketana shebetfilah. Also, duchsustis is not kosher for tefillah. So therefore, the smallest amount of klaf to carry is enough to write the smallest parsha in tefillin, Shema Yisrael, which is the whole parsha of Shema, to the end of Vahavta. Dio, the amount of ink, is kedei lichtov shtei oisios, enough to write 2 letters. So, for example, on the krushim, on the wood panels in the Mishkan. So how did they know to assemble the Mishkan? So they would write letters, one letter on one letter on one board, like what we do for a sukkah. Like I remember I used to have a sukkah. I had the same system. I wrote 12 numbers, 1 through 12, and that's how I would assemble the sukkah. So that's how they did the krushim too. Rashi says to pair them up, you'd write 1 letter here, 1 letter there, so you have to write 2 letters. That's why the ksiva of 2 oisiois is considered the shear, which gives you a chiyuv chatas, because that's what the malacha was in building the Mishkan. Chol, which is perfume, not perfume, it's makeup for the eye, enough to apply to one eye. Devek, glue, the Gemara will explain what that is. Zeves v'gofris, which is pitch or tar, is kedei lasos nekev, to fill up a hole that needs to be closed up in a kli. They would use that as a method to fix kalim. Shava, wax, kedei lited al pi nekev cotton, also enough to fill up a small defect in a kli.
Eliza.
Charsis, that's like a brick. Kedei lasos pikur shel tzorfei zahav, enough to. This has to do with like a goldsmith, a blacksmith. These are these kilns, and they would use bellows. And there was an opening that they would put that implement in there. It's enough to fill up that opening. Rav Yehuda, oimer kedei lasos pitput. It's like a tripod. Rashi says tripod. See Rashi in French, that they would have like a 3-legged thing that they would put the goldsmiths or the silversmiths, whatever, with this heating. That's how they would melt the material. They would put it on this tripod, and they would use this brick to help make the tripod. Subin, we said, which is like the flax or the bran for the wheat. This would be placed to fill up the opening of a goldsmith's kiln. Sid, lime, they would use that as a depilatory to remove hair for young girls. Rabbi Yehuda Omer kedei lasos kilkul, which the Gemara will have to explain. Oh, it's a part of the face. It's like part of the face, I think the forehead or the temple. And Rav Nechemia Omer kedei lasos undepi. It's to another part of the face. And the Gemara will tell us exactly what it is. So the Gemara says, Chevel, Nami l'chayv k'dei lasos tlaylo nafel of car. Why isn't the rope, isn't the shear the same as you said for the sieve? Kivin the chart b'mana, because it's rough. Law of the inchi, people don't use it for the sieve. Torabanan hutzin. Hutzin are like palm branches. K'dei lasos oizen l'sal kfifa mitzris. They would make an Egyptian basket, which was made out of this palm branch. Sieve, which is like a grass that grows around the palm tree. Sue, so someone's knocking. Sue? Susie? Eliza, I think Jake's on the door. Someone's knocking.
Oh, okay, 1 minute.
Sieve, acher moimim k'dei litir al pi mashpech cotton l'sani l'sayayim. They would have a funnel, and they would pour wine in it to filter the wine. So it was enough sieve to carry to make one of these filters. Revav, which is like an oil, k'dei losuch tachas ispagim ktana. This is some, you use it to grease some kind of cake or cracker that you would put on the side of an oven, and you would put on, and you put some oil underneath it. Kama shira kasela, how much? Like a coin's worth. I vatanya kagroy grois. Some people say it's the size of a fig, which is bigger. I divide chachir. No, a sel and a grois is the same shear. Moichin, which is like a shmata, piece of material.
Cotton.
Kidei is like a cotton ball. The kama shiura ke'egos, like a walnut. Then it says niyar kidei lichtov lav kesher motsin. The paper, the amount of paper is the amount that is needed to write a receipt for a tax collector. Tana kama kesher motsin shtei oisir shel kesher motsin. How much paper? Enough to write 2 letters, which were bigger than Hebrew letters. B'riminu, I'll ask you a kasha. Motzi niyar chalak. If you take out a piece of paper that hasn't been written on, in yeshbo k'dei lichtov shtei osiyos chay, it is enough to take 2 letters. And if lav potter, which seems to be a smaller shear than this tax collector shear, Amar Rav Sheshes, my shteosiyos there is also shteosiyos shel keser motz. It's the same shear. But Rav Amar no shteosiyos didon.
By the way, the Rambam Paskins, they're Greek letters, and that's why they're bigger. The Greek letters are bigger, so it's 2 Greek letters apparently.
I said when I learned the Mishnah, I said that the Kesher Motzin is 2 Greek letters.
Yeah. Well, that's how Paskins also, yeah.
Right, because the Greek letters is bigger. And Rava says, no, you don't have to come on to Greek letters. He says, Shteosiyos Didon are letters, but Beis Achiza. But there's a margin that you hold on to it, so there's a little bit more paper. It's a bigger shear. The Hainu Kesher Motzin, which would be like a tax receipt collector, like Walter said, which is with Greek letters, which are bigger. So it's either a piece of paper where you could write 2 Greek letters, or a piece of paper that you could write 2 Hebrew letters with a little bit of a margin of Beis Achiz. If you take out a piece of paper that's been erased, so you can't write on it anymore, or a loan document, for example, the owner of the star presents a star to somebody, right? I loan Mario $1,000, and I have a star that documents that. So I present the star, and he pays me, and I keep the star, but I write. There's a way to prevent me from double collecting. So it's a document that's been collected on. So essentially, it has no usage. So then, what's the shear of carrying such a thing? So im yesh beloved shalok kedei lichtov shtei osiyos, we see, if you look at the document and there's enough white space on it to be able to write two letters, or if you use the whole document, or you could use the document to wrap a perfume bottle, chayiv im lav potter. So because you need at least space to write two letters. So you could write the two letters of the kesher moichsin, which is the Greek letters. So how come over there by the document that was paid up, the loan document, you don't need a beis achiza? So kasha, it remains a kasha. Torah if you carry out on Shabbos the tax receipt, so it depends. If it hasn't been used yet, it didn't show it to the tax collector for him to fill it a chayiv. Still has usage. But once it's been used, so the cash and the tax collector wrote on it paid potter because it has no usage. But Rabbi Yehuda Omer af misherer lemoiches chayiv, you're still chayiv even if it was a receipt that was that was stamped. Mipnei shetzorich lo, he still needs it. Why does he need it? My binai. For example, the tax collectors would send out runners to everybody to see if they paid their taxes. So people would, that's the machlokes of Tanna Kama and Rabbi Yehuda, whether you would hold on to this receipt. So according to the ones that the runners would go out, you'd have to hold on to it because otherwise they would tax you a second time. The other person's not worried about that. Sometimes there's a big tax collector. Rashi says that would stand on the bridge a whole day, and you'd have to pay the toll to cross the bridge. Sometimes he would appoint a underling. And so sometimes the cotton guy wouldn't let him pass until there was a whole bureaucratic struggle between the cotton and the gadol. According to Tanna Kama, once you gave it to the gadol, that was it. You didn't, the smaller guy would let you pass no matter what. Ravashi Amarchad Moichas Ikebinayu. You could still be dealing with one tax because the other two terutzim involve two different tax collectors, either the runner or moichas gadol, moichas cotton. Ravashi says one moichas, and they should circle laris moichas sheni. If he comes to a different bridge, he wants to be able to show, hey, look, I'm a guy who pays my taxes. So that's another reason why you would hold on to it. And now we'll do the same analysis that we just did with tax receipts with the shtar chov, with a loan document. Ton Rabbanon, Amotzi shtar chov, achlo pro chayv. If it hasn't been paid, then you're chayv. Mishaparo. So if the loaver paid it, then potter. They should sort it. Even if the loan document had been paid on, the loan document is still valuable, and therefore you'd be chayiv for carrying it. Now, what's the machlokas? Ma'binai. On Rav Yosef, Asr lasher shtar pura ikbinai. So, is there a prohibition for the malva to hold on to such a note? Rashi says, Mishum shnemer al tishkan bo'lecha avla. That means by allowing the lender to keep such a note, he's got an avla b'veisecha. He's got an evil thing lurking in his house. Why? He's always going to be tempted to try to collect the second time on the same note. Therefore, says Rashi, we don't allow him to keep it, even to use it for something else, to wrap it around a perfume bottle. Let's say somehow the lova has it, he would not hold on to it either, because he would always fear that it would fall into the hands of the malveh and allow him to collect another time. So Rabbanan Savi Asr Lasher Star Perua. So that's why once it's been paid, you're not supposed to. So therefore, there's no use anymore. He says you're allowed to keep it. So therefore, if the malva took it out, he'd be chayav for carrying. Because maybe since it's not usher to keep it, so he uses it to wrap around a perfume bottle. That's the way Rav Yosef learns. No, there's no machlokas regarding this issue. It's prohibited. Once a loan document's been paid on, you can't keep it around. However, here's a technical difference. Now, even when you have a star, you usually would have to go to Bezdin to be makuyim the star, certifying the star. Before it would be paid, they would go to Bezdin and document, are these the signatures? Are these the eidim? Is it correct? They would certify the star, and then they would put a henpeck on it, and then you could collect with it. However, what if the lova, the borrower, admits that he wrote this star? He admits that it's an authentic star. Does such a star require kiyum bebezdin or not? The argument is this concept of if whether a moida b'shtar that it was written, does that star require certification or not? Even if the lova admits that yes, this star was written, I was there, it's not a fake star, it's not counterfeit, it still requires kiyum bebezdin. And then umay ad shelo pro mashaparo ad sheyomer lova parati v'lo parati. It doesn't mean whether the loan was paid or not paid. It means whether the lova has said I paid it or I didn't pay it. It means I agreed to the star or not agreed to the star. Let's see the last Rashi.
Ernie, Rabbi Yehuda, doesn't he hold that Ein Adam Me'id al Atzmo, even if you've got a document over there, you can't give witness, are you giving witness on yourself here?
You're not. You have two other witnesses. So what they're saying is like the lova could say, I never wrote this star. But we're saying no, even when a lova says no, this star is authentic. There are two other witnesses that sign on the star, not the guy himself.
They're not being verified.
He's not serving as a witness on himself. He's saying this occurred. Even so, the Tanakama holds such a star needs kiyum and bezdin. And they have to bring the two witnesses in and say, are these your signatures? Is it? And then they certify.
Right. So I'm saying there's no verification without a verification. So how does Rabbi?
That's according to Rabbi Yehuda.
Yeah,
according to the Tanakama, hang on.
Rabbi.
So according to the Tanakama, a moida b'shtar, according to Rabbi Yehuda, a moida b'shtar does not require kiyum in Bezdin. His admission is enough.
But that's why I'm asking. There's no verification. So what does it help?
What? But there's no greater verification than if a guy says, "Yeah, I borrowed $1,000, and this is the star that documented it."
Okay.
Let's see Rashi. Rashi will explain it better. Halova moda sheksavo. If the lova admits that this star was written, sarich lekaimo, according to Tanakama, v'lomer lo parati, and he has to say, there's a second thing he has to say. I haven't paid it. Because it could be that the star is a good star, but he could say, I paid it already. So then there's going to be a shadow. Well, if you paid it already, why does the malva still have it? So he'll have tirutzim. But anyways,
He has to swear,
if
right?
the lova is modeh, tzarich l'kaimo, v'lo melo parat, he still has to go to Bez and say it wasn't paid. The Kokaman Deloy Marahachi. As long as the Lova has not stated yet that he hasn't paid up on it, Lav Shtar, it's not a good star. Ilav Mishkach Sadi, if there wasn't witnesses as well, Lahakar Achasima, that recognize their signature. The man Kamash Vile Shtar Lova, right? The guy who would actually prepare the star. By the way, the Lova would have to take the trouble to prepare the star, because it's for his benefit to get the money. And he had to say the Omar Kasavtiv. And when he says, I wrote it, Loy Nami, Hakar Parati, and then if he says, I paid it, Hapesha Asr, Hapesha Yitir. So this is the concept of this. I'm the mouth that said that the star even exists. So if he says, yes, I wrote the star, but I paid off on it, we believe him. Because he's the one who created the whole chiyuv in the first place. If he never would have said with his own mouth, I wrote the star, there never would have been a chiyuv for him to pay it. So since he's the one, hapesha aser, who hapesha yitir, since he's the one who created the whole obligation in the first place by admitting that he wrote it, then he's also believed to say that he paid it.
Doesn't he have to take a shua?
Hilkach. There is a shvua, rabbinic shvua regarding this. You remember correctly, Mario. But here, first we're dealing with the facts of the case. Hilkach. Mishaparo. So once a star has been paid, kloimar. Mishayoimar parati. If the guy, the Loven Bezdin said, I paid it, potter, to lot sarichle, because the star is not needed anymore. Its use was satisfied. He does not require certification. As long as he admits that it was written, wow. That's why Walter was wondering. If the Love admits that it was written, it's as if the witnesses came in and certified their signatures, even if they didn't come in and certify it. That's what Rashi says. The guy will go kozman shmotzio, and this star could be collected whenever it was pulled out on. That's a buy. Rava will have a different shot. Okay, excellent, gentlemen. Tomorrow we'll learn at 9:00.
Okay.
Good
Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach, Chag Yom Yerushalayim Sameach.
Yeah.